She's, I was almost in tears there beforehand. She's a frightened young girl.
If I had no drug or alcohol in my system, then I'm just a cold-blooded killer.
It was an idyllic Southern California morning. The sun shone brightly over the palm trees and suburban homes of San Diego's San Carlos neighborhood. At Grover Cleveland Elementary School, children laughed and played outside the gates, eagerly awaiting the start of classes. But on this peaceful scene, a shadow was falling. Hidden behind a bedroom window, a lone figure watched the innocent students below. His fingers slowly curled around the cool object, caressing the cold metal. No one noticed the barrel, following each child's movement, marking each smiling face. In a moment, their lives would be forever altered. On this tranquil morning, conflict would break out, leading to the spilling of life's essence on the ground. When the smoke cleared, a sense of innocence would be lost alongside those affected. What drives a person to extinguish the lives of others, to scar communities and destroy futures not their own? How could such incomprehensible evil emerge from a sunny California day? The answers would come soon enough, but for now, the children continued their games, blissfully unaware of the looming threat. Parents hugged their sons and daughters at the school gates, treasuring mundane morning rituals, not knowing these were final farewells. Within minutes, their world would shatter, their faith in humanity tested. On this serene San Diego morning, terror was brewing across the street, and nothing would ever be the same again. Hi guys, and welcome back to Crimeco, where we break down some of the most chilling true crime cases from all over the world, giving you the most up-to-date detailed information. If that sounds like something you are interested in, be sure to subscribe and don't forget to give this video a like. A like from you really helps the channel. Thank you. Now, let's dive in.
Neighbors, nearby residents, and all the school children were safely evacuated. Prepared for either lengthy negotiations or for an assault, police took every precaution to keep onlookers away from the line of fire.
The Cleveland Elementary School incident erupted in the unassuming suburb of San Carlos, nestled in sunny San Diego. Just miles from the beach and downtown, it was known as a safe, peaceful community of quiet streets lined with single-family homes. Towering palm trees waved gently over the neatly maintained gardens. Children played freely outdoors year-round, enjoying Southern California's temperate climate. The local elementary school sat at the heart of this idyllic neighborhood. Grover Cleveland Elementary was built in 1953 to teach new families flocking to San Diego after World War II. The young school soon became a beloved community institution over the decades. Students walked safely to its doors from all directions. The campus sprawled across 9 acres, dotted with classroom buildings, play areas, and administration offices. A plaque proudly proclaimed it part of the San Diego Unified School District, though its atmosphere felt far from an imposing educational machine. Teachers and staff knew every child's name, forming bonds over many years of education. Principal Burton Ragg greeted students at the gates each morning, a grandfatherly figure ushering the next generation to nurturing classrooms within. In so many ways, Grover Cleveland Elementary exemplified the classic post-war American suburban school. Its doors welcomed children from all backgrounds to encounter the diverse mosaic of U.S. society. Few schools could feel more inherently innocent than this small sanctuary nestled under swaying palms, which made the horrific events of January 29, 1979, all the more shocking when the peace was shattered by gunfire. A place of childhood joy became a scene of unimaginable tragedy. The scars left behind persist in victims' memories decades later, and the name Cleveland Elementary remains tragically linked to the loss of innocence on that fateful San Diego morning. Brenda Spencer was born in San Diego in 1962 to Wallace and Dot Spencer. By all accounts, her childhood was deeply troubled. Her parents separated when she was young, leaving Brenda in the sole care of her father. The two lived in squalor, sleeping on a single soiled mattress on the living room floor. Wallace Spencer was an alcoholic who neglected his daughter's basic needs. Their house was littered with empty liquor bottles. Brenda later claimed Wallace inflicted both physical and emotional harm upon her, allegations he denied. Without proper parental guidance, Brenda skipped school frequently and drifted into destructive behavior. At age 14, Brenda began exhibiting delinquent behavior. She started dressing like a boy and enjoyed shocking people with vulgar language. She also developed an obsession with hunting and guns under her father's influence. In 1978, Brenda was arrested for harming out Cleveland Elementary's windows with a BB gun. She was put on probation. Around this time, a psychiatric evaluation recommended admitting Brenda to a mental health facility due to severe depression. But Wallace refused, insisting he could handle her problems. Tragically, just months later, he purchased the .22 caliber rifle that Brenda would use to forever change the lives of so many. On the day of the incident, Brenda claimed she was controlled by alcohol and epilepsy medication, but most experts believe she was fully aware of her actions.
The ones that went to court with me stated that I was on no drugs or alcohol. There's an independent lab test from the same blood samples that show I had blood alcohol levels and some amount of drugs in my system.
At police headquarters after her arrest, Brenda was coherent and showed no signs of being intoxicated. Her deadly accuracy in wounding specific targets also indicated she was in control. Whatever her motivations, Brenda's rampage on that quiet San Diego morning inflicted wounds that continue to trouble victims decades later. Her callous words about the attack, "I just don't like Mondays," still haunt many today. Few paid attention to the reserved teenager with red hair living in the modest house, certainly not the children who were joyfully playing outside Grover Cleveland Elementary on that significant January morning. Yet, Brenda's chilling gaze followed their every action through the lens of scope, her finger lightly poised on the mechanism as she selected her targets. Before long, the initial shots broke the calm, causing chaos and filling the air with cries and the smell of gunpowder. The situation at Grover Cleveland Elementary following the incident was one of extreme confusion. Students fled in fear as unexpected events unfolded in the schoolyard. Courageous educators quickly stepped in to offer help to those affected, despite the potential risks involved. Young Charles Cam Miller, an 8-year-old, recollected the sight of Principal Rag and Custodian Suture experiencing being hit near the entrance while they were attempting to provide assistance. The initial responder on the scene was police officer Robert Robb. As he moved to offer his assistance, he was hit on his neck. Young Cam Miller also sustained an injury as he sought safety. In total, the series of actions carried out by Brenda Spencer resulted in injuries to 8 children and the loss of 2 adults. As law enforcement took control of the surroundings, they determined the source of the erupted noise was the house situated across the street, which happened to be the residence of Brenda Spencer. A special response team surrounded the home, leading to a tense standoff that persisted for nearly 7 hours.
No, they have been relieved. We've had 2 SWAT teams here today. They have both been relieved. They're patrol officers, so they're not waiting for something to happen, their own call.
Brenda refrained from communicating with officers, with the exception of one unsettling call to a reporter, during which she made her now notorious comment regarding her feelings about Mondays. Upon eventually surrendering, officers discovered her residence filled with nearly 200 rounds of unused ammunition. The extent of her preparation suggested that the events were premeditated. While in custody, the 16-year-old Brenda exhibited no remorse for her actions. Her sole concern was that law enforcement did not promptly deliver the Burger King meal she had been promised. The community reeled from the tragedy. Many remained hospitalized from their injuries, while families mourned the loss of Principal Rag and Mike Subtar. Counselors were brought in to treat the emotional trauma inflicted on students and teachers. The scars from that day would last a lifetime for many. Brenda Spencer faced justice, but many questioned if she fully grasped the enormity of her crimes. In the decades since, school-like incidents have become a dark reality of American life, and Brenda Spencer's heartless targeting of the innocents is viewed by many as the start of this tragic phenomenon. Brenda Spencer's trial captured national attention in 1979. Charged as an adult, the 16-year-old initially pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. But her attorneys later scrapped that strategy, opting for a simple guilty plea instead. In court, dramatic testimony painted a picture of a troubled teen pushed over the edge. The defense argued Brenda's broken home, emotional and boosters use created a perfect storm that led to uncontrollable forceful behavior. Prosecutors acknowledged her difficult upbringing, but rejected it as an excuse for taking lives. Ultimately, Brenda pleaded guilty to 2 counts of M for the endings of principal rag and custodian suture. The judge dismissed 9 counts of failed act of intentional harm in a deal worked out by both sides. On April 4, 1980, 2 days after her 18th birthday, Brenda received a sentence of 25 years to life in prison.
Cause why sentence should not now be imposed.
That is correct.
As to counts 1 and 2, the sentence is 25 years to life.
Behind bars, Brenda was initially a problematic inmate. She was carving words into her skin on multiple occasions. But gradually her behavior improved with medication and counseling. In prison interviews, Brenda claimed she felt remorse for her deeds and the inspiration it gave other troubled teens.
Yeah, and they made it look like, just for the fun of it and stuff, which is totally senseless. Every day I live with, that I took the lives of 2 men. And that's real difficult.
Brenda first became eligible for parole in 1993, but release has consistently been denied. The parole board remains concerned over her lack of explanation for the incident and her potential instability if set free. Brenda is next up again for parole in 2025 when she will be 63 years old. The Spencer case left deep wounds in the San Diego community. Cleveland Elementary closed in 1983 due to declining enrollment, with some believing memories of the tragedy contributed to its shuttering. The grounds were later converted to condominiums, with a memorial inscription honoring the victims. 40 years later, Brenda Spencer remains an infamous figure as one of the first modern school hitters. The aggression she unleashed still reverberates in the lives of many survivors and families today. The Cleveland Elementary School incident shocked the nation in 1979. A lone teenage girl, armed with the unwanted, had begun firing shots on children and teachers at the start of a school day. The alarming scene seemed unthinkable at the time, but in the decades since, incidents like this have become a recurrent tragedy in schools and public spaces. Brenda Spencer's attack was not the first mass firing in America, but experts point to it as an early symbol of angry and isolated young individuals resorting to acts of aggression. Troubled teens seeing news reports may have found dark inspiration in Brenda's actions. Her infamous quote about not liking Mondays seemed to reject any meaningful explanation for the cruelty. The victims of Cleveland Elementary have had to live with the trauma and scars from that terrible day. Some still carry the physical wounds from projectiles that pierced their small selves. All endured the psychological wounds of seeing friends and teachers mercilessly gunned down. Brenda Spencer's legacy is a complicated one. She remains imprisoned today, denied parole despite claims of rehabilitation. Many of those she injured refused to speak her name, wishing only to forget. But history cannot overlook her role in ushering in an era of school firings that still haunt America today. The events of that shocking Monday morning in 1979 forever changed San Diego and the nation. We remember those lost, those injured, and those brave souls who ran toward the gunfire to protect the innocent. And we hope for a future where no one must fear violence in places of learning and joy. The dreams of the children must always be protected above all else. Spencer's crime highlighted the emergence of the alienated suburban teen lashing out at society through depraved act. Her attack could not be explained away by poverty, mental illness, or ideology. She simply relished inflicting suffering on others. Of course, broader societal factors still enable such crimes. Accessibility of guns, breakdown of families, and lack of mental health resources all play a role. But Spencer's case directed focus to the gun wielders themselves and their desires for infamy above all else. Some also point to excessive media attention as driving the copycat effect among disturbed youth. Such culprits since Spencer have explicitly idolized previous perpetrators and hope to surpass their body counts rather than ameliorate social problems. Does spotlighting the killers worsen the crisis? Limiting coverage of their identities and motivations may deter potential followers. On the other hand, censoring information breeds rumors and speculation. Finding solutions remains complex. But there is no question Brenda Spencer's legacy still haunts us today. How society responds to alarming children like Spencer has life or death consequences. Warning signs need addressing early before dysfunction festers. Access to mental health care and common sense gun regulation remain woefully lacking. But most importantly, we must instill hope, compassion, and belonging in children from an early age. Healthy communities and support systems can steer people away from the dark paths that Brenda Spencer walked down long ago on that tragic San Diego morning. This concludes our today's case on the devastating tragedy of Brenda Spencer. From this darkest of horrors, may we walk in the light. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with the latest true crime cases. We appreciate having you as part of our community as we explore the mysteries that continue to fascinate us all. Stay curious and remember, justice may stay hidden in the darkest corner. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.